Hello, true believers. High definition here, and this is a breakdown of all the Easter eggs, references, and tiny details from Insomniac's Spider-Man 2 gameplay shown during PlayStation's May 2023 showcase. And just like how Insomniac has come back from the shadows with some fresh new Marvel gaming content, your boy is back, baby, and ready to get back to breaking down some brand new AAA Marvel stuff. At least 12 minutes of it to be exact. So, since we have a lot to cover here, let's get right to it. Kraven's design choice from Insomniac appearing comic accurate, but also adding some practicality in these shots, adding a sense of realism in it as well. While most designs of the character have been shown to be a big guy usually wearing the face of a lion, well, on a vest, Insomniac here made a more subtle approach to the lion motif by adding some pareidolia for us. In other words, the buttons and patterns on the vest almost looks like a lion's face, with the mane on top, of course. We get a better look at one of Kraven's henchmen as well, likely another enemy type to shake up the gameplay. We'll mention more on them later. The henchman says, "I got you, bro," and shows him a pad suggesting a new hunting ground. And my goodness, Kraven's intel shows us several targets in New York from some old and new faces, including Black Cat and Prowler. But one of the most interesting appearances include a character named Wraith. This character likely being Spider-Cop's partner in crime, Yuri Watanabe from the police force. Turns out in the comics, she ends up using Mysterio's equipment and that of other villains to become the alter ego Wraith, disguised as the ghost of Jean DeWolf, a former police captain that was also allied with Spider-Man. She also uses a mask of the villain Chameleon to further conceal her true identity. With that, Yuri begins fighting criminals and intimidating them, becoming a vigilante herself. Next in the clip, we see the villain Tombstone, our two Spider-Men, a shadowy look at Lizard, Taskmaster, and another figure that we can't clearly make out here. My guess here would probably be Venom. Let me know down below who you think it is. We then cut to 6 months later where we get a glimpse of Midtown High School's football field, giving us a taste of what's to come. Yep, finally some Spider-Man action around Peter Parker's hood, the suburbs. I already can't wait to see if we can make a Ferris Bueller situation like in Spider-Man Homecoming and parkour over different lawns. Anyway, those peaceful suburban vibes seem to be getting interrupted as we see this door with a huge crack in it and some hired thugs trying to rudely barge into this nice brick home. This place is likely Aunt May's house, a location revealed in the comic book tie-in for this game, and is a place where Peter ends up moving after the events of the Miles Morales game. We then see Spider-Man jump from out the basement, but with the Venom symbiote as well. And we get a fresh new look at the new UI and two wheels. One for new web gadgets we'll get a glimpse at later, and the other for symbiote abilities. And in Miles' case, his electric powers. Anyway, our first ability is a projectile attack that charges Spider-Man's arm and can slam multiple enemies in a straight direction. The second ability we get a look at is this one where Peter gets covered in the symbiote and does a ground slam into multiple enemies, lifts them up, and can be followed up with combos. We also get a lot of unique Venom-based versions of regular mechanics like zipping to enemies and air finishers. But then what's this? The Kraven henchmen have robot dogs in their ranks as well. These henchmen also have scimitars or machetes and crossbows, but sadly we don't get to yet see how they differentiate from the other enemy types we fought before in the other games. Next, we see Spider-Man use what looks like a special counter that can even stop the unstoppable red moves. Also, take a note of these glowing cracks on the ground that just screams a new mechanic that we don't even know about yet. We then see some sick new combos before we see a third symbiote ability where Peter can pick up multiple enemies straight ahead and slam them to the ground. We then see Peter picking up on radio chatter and find out that Kraven has a freaking satellite that can pinpoint these targets of his. The next target being at the Harlem Fish Market. Sounds like a job for my boy Miles as we fluidly switch between both Spider-Men. And then we get one of the definitive features to ever grace a Spider-Man video game. We see Miles prepare a new mechanic for the game, but familiar to his fans, the super slingshot, before flying off at full speed towards Kraven's crew. Note here the change in music from the familiar orchestrated tracks while playing as Peter to the dope energetic beats while swinging around as Miles.
This whole blizzard hunt ends now! Leave Connors alone!
Guess we'll chat later?
A nice touch from the devs to differentiate their individual gameplay experiences. We then get a tease of yet another cool Spider-Man mechanic, gliding. And this isn't like that low gravity ability from the first Spider-Man game. Oh no, this is more like the quick glide we saw Peter do in Spider-Man Far From Home, something I've always wanted to experience pretty much in a Spider-Man game. Our guy Dr. Connors must be pretty hungry because we see Kraven's hunters quickly surrounding a fish supermarket. And if you're enjoying this already and Kraven and hungry for more breakdowns like this, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Anyway, Miles wastes no time and starts the stealth section we know and love from his own game. This time with some nice additions. We see Miles using a new stealth takedown on a new drone enemy type that can possibly be a new obstacle during these stealth sections. We also get a glimpse of a sign for a seafood business called Destin. Could this be a very loose nod to a pastor in the Ghost Rider comics named Destin Kale? Let me know your thoughts down below. But now we see an actual web gadget that fans first modded into the PC port of Spider-Man, the web line. As Miles stealths through Kraven's crew, Miles shoots out a new web gadget that automatically tethers multiple enemies. We then see him use a new Venom Blast ability that causes him to discharge blue lightning, a different color from the yellow effect we experienced in his solo game. This being likely after he absorbed the energy from the reactor at the end of it, effectively making his powers stronger. It also makes the appearance of his powers more comic accurate. We see yet another new finisher from Miles featuring this shiny blue new lightning effect, and then one of his new Venom Blast abilities, a ranged attack that can chain to multiple enemies. Notice the more intense effect Insomniac gave Miles when using these new moves. You can see the electric energy pulsing through his body, even seeing what appears to be his skeleton at some frames when the electricity shoots out. The game continues to give us only an elusive and mysterious look at the lizard's appearance at this point, almost like the players are tracking down a beast we barely even know about as well, just like Kraven's crew. Miles and the team pursue that crew as they themselves chase after the lizard. We can even catch Peter swinging right near Miles as well, giving us a similar Spider-Verse moment from the second game that we had already with these two. Here we also get some dialogue from Peter saying,
"Can't lose Connors. Harry's dying, and he's the only one who can help."
Unfortunately, we still don't know if Peter and the gang found Harry in his Bacta tank from the first game or somewhere different entirely. Either way, it's going to be interesting when the truth finally comes out. We then get a look at a new takedown during these overseas sections of the game. Pretty much another different atmosphere to add to the new enemy types we'll likely be seeing in the game and its many side challenges. We then again seamlessly switch back to controlling Spider-Man as we see him do the normal chase sequence we're used to while swinging. But this time the Spidey wings make another appearance here as Peter is even shown swinging through a train structure. So I'm sure there will be plenty of other moments like this in the game. While Miles tells Peter that they can take down the drone together, Peter decides to strike it on his own and is rudely interrupted by the drone's defenses. As Kraven's crew tries to catch Peter with some net projectiles, Miles does a great save and pushes him out the way. Unfortunately for Miles, he hits the water and gets quite the jump scare by an even better image yet still blurry look at the lizard. Possibly the biggest version of him I've ever seen so far in some Spider-Man content. So much that he's looking like DC's Killer Croc right now. Luckily, Miles goes invisible and the lizard misses his bite. Genki shows up in the hunter drone again, and this time Miles latches onto it to begin another chase sequence. This time against the lizard himself and pretty much adding water skiing to the Spider-Man game. And I'm guessing any failed QTE segments versus the lizard would look pretty brutal here, especially here as well. The section continues into water skiing through this harbor as well, making yet another interesting and different set piece that this game has to offer. While Miles continues his ride on the Genki drone, we can spot another somewhat better look at the lizard, and that all this action is taking place on Astoria Pier. One of the smaller neighborhoods located in Queens. In the comics, Astoria would not only be a town Spider-Man would appear at, but also the Punisher and Hercules themselves would end up having their own business to handle in their respective comics. But more importantly, it apparently made its first appearance in 1994's issue 329 of Daredevil. The segment epically ends with Miles, Peter, and Genki actually teaming up for what Miles calls the alley-oop maneuver, because Miles loves him some basketball, of course. Similar to the actual game, Genki becomes the ball, Miles passes it to Peter, and then Peter gives the game-winning throw. Also, notice here how Miles discharges a yellow color for his electricity. Can he switch between the two types? Is one, the blue version, like lethal and the yellow is more non-lethal? I don't know, let me know your thoughts down below. Unfortunately, the Genki Hunter drone combo is seemingly short-lived as it gets blown up from being a projectile in the process. Hopefully this won't be the last of us experiencing some more tech team-ups with Genki. Finally, we get the Spider-Man logo being surrounded by the symbiote, and we get the slogan for Spider-Man 2, "Be greater together." I love it. Anyways, this is an almost full circle moment from the previous games, such as Spider-Man 1's Be Greater and Spider-Man Miles Morales' Be Yourself. You can also see the word together eventually get covered by the symbiote before it gets eliminated by a blue lightning effect. Could this be alluding to a black suit Peter versus Miles Morales showdown? Let me know down below. Unfortunately, we have to wait just a little while longer to feast on this new Spider-Man adventure, with the vague date of fall 2023 to go by. Some sources say we may see a release this September, but we'll just have to wait and see about that, don't we? But that's all the details that I can find in Spider-Man 2's new showcase. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy content like this. You can follow me on Twitter at TheTrueHD for nerdy nonsense each and every day. And as always, thank you so much for watching if you have. Peace.